Good morning. It's Sunday morning and the Five Bogs are heading that way. It's struggling to be 25 degrees, and as you can see behind me, we've had some snow, so it's that time of year. And the fun being that's going to make it interesting to get in here from this time on, because not having a 4x car, I might have to rent one or something to pull this off again. Not a lot of snow this time, but once it begins, it starts to cumulatively pile up, so we're up against that now. So we'll see what the day brings at this point. That's our first surprise, and
Okay,
if it's
so
one of many, then that's what it is.
unlike yesterday,
let's hit it and see what we find.
today. They had some snow up here. I wasn't sure if they were going to or not, but not a lot. I mean, it's like basically half an inch, if that, but that means the season is upon us where snow is going to be a factor of getting in here now. Not so much on foot yet, but vehicle-wise, that's going to be a different story. So our plan today so far is we're gonna try to make it back out to that pond we were at the last time. The point being, with fresh snow, tracks are harder for hairy monkey folk to hide on us, and since there were recent tracks in there, it's as good a place as any to look for them, and maybe we'll have some luck. So that is our immediate plan, and then other than that, we're just gonna do a general snow reconnoiter and see what other tracks pop up. I do need to be careful though. There's at least one or two hunters in here, so I didn't think they hunted on Sundays in Vermont. Apparently they do, unlike the Nutmeg State. But we're already here, so that point is moot. So we'll, rather than have you watch a lot of snow and me ramble as I walk through it, we'll save the battery and resume when we get to a waterway to look around for tracks. So, okay, we are here at the first pond. Expand on my intro. This should be interesting, if only because I've never actually seen this area in the snow before. But the other nice thing, as this is virgin snow, any tracks in here are going to be whatever's in here under natural conditions. And the irksome thing is, you would think that the snow might weight down these damn grabber bushes, and it doesn't. That is irksome. This lovely crunchy leaf, though, chances of my coming up on a moose or something quietly is not likely, so especially making crunchy noises like that. The further in I go, the thicker that crap gets, until it finally clears out when we come up on this. So we are adjacent basically to the middle of the southern bog, and it is probably mostly frozen over given the temperature, but you literally do walk right up on the water line though. So my hat wanted to go with the branch. So, big old thing. It's quiet around here. This is not our destination pond. It's a nice thing if you can bear the break up in the pan, only because I gotta watch my feet here. You're not on solid ground. And yeah. Okay, we're gonna get moving again. Pause for some photography, but just us back out after we adjust the level a little bit. That's probably good. And continue south to what's weird is you barely even notice my tracks in here. There don't seem to be any surprising lack of like even deer tracks up here. Wonder if that's because they're lower because it's warmer or something. We're going the fool's way. Because there's just less ground cover to come through here. But again, we're coming out and we're gonna take a break in the segment at this point, and we'll be back once we hit the other pond, and we'll look for new tracks, which with the snow will be confirmedly new. So we're at the second pond. That's our next step. We're approaching the second pond. And here, you know the drill, we'll more gravel crap. And at some point, probably in warmer weather, I am going to night op here, because we have, here's what's happened so far. We've basically hit a point where there were fresh tracks a couple of weeks ago, and then when we came here last week, there were tracks that either I didn't see the first time or they were made in between those two times. And the interesting part of that is that the smaller ones could be regarded potentially as maybe toddler tracks. So this is a whole lot of conjecture on my part, but that might explain why the two that live in this area were so territorial a year and a half, 2 years ago, because if they were having a youngin' or a youngster at the time, that could explain some parental defensiveness. That would actually explain a great deal. I'll apologize in advance for any bad angles on the camera. I'm trying not to. There's a wet spot in here, and I don't really feel like getting wet feet when it's in the 20s. That is not really a good time. So I'm gonna kind of trudge in a sort of serpentine through here and get over to the pond, which is now completely frozen over from the look of it, and try to minimize interaction with the grabber bushes, which I have yet to perfect because they're just basically everywhere. Can't really avoid them past a point. It's either them or eye pokers, pretty much. And I'll work through the eye pokers. And we're about there. Not the worst approach I've ever had, though. So we have returned just to kind of show some novelty. There's some weird interactions with the beavers and the trees. I guess some of the Bucky beavers in here are a little more creative in their carving skills than others. Not alone here, there's some kind of bird over there. Other than that, it's not totally frozen, I guess. Looked like it when I was from the angle I had, but alright, so before I go out stomping all over this otherwise pristine snowfall, as far as I can tell, make an effort to get out here and have a look at whatever new tracks might be here. And God forbid I can get... Why is this suddenly like seeming harder than it was to get out here? But let's this must be a higher elevation than where we started out, because it's a little breezier up here today. All right, we're back. Gonna make our way around some the pond. Photography real quick, though. Don't have as much snow cover as I was sort of hoping for, because that would give you a new medium for new tracks. But over there you have more because it's in the shade, so you might have less melt and refreeze. And that's where we're going to go real quick. And do some follow-up work on, don't forget to check the mud as well. So I don't know if it's worth mentioning, as I was on my way here, there was kind of an odd sound that, more than anything else, interestingly enough, sounded artificial. Almost like electronics. I'll have to keep an ear out for that when I go back. Otherwise, I don't really have an explanation for it. We're gonna intermittently take a couple of pictures here. This is kind of scenic, so bear with me for a sec. And when I freak out, when I lose my phone, it's because I broke my pattern and put it in my right pocket as opposed to my left. So when later I do that, you can laugh at me, because that will be what I have done. If I'm dumb enough to think that I lost it out here, because you lose it out here, that could be a problem. This is not a tiny area when you see the larger part of it. Okay, so we do have good snow cover over here. So if there are new tracks, what's going to be the case is either old ones have been snowed over, or new ones will have been made, and like these deer tracks are new. So that's good definition. That tree falling down might be new too, like within the last week. So here we are gonna go a little slower, and I think we have safely established that this area is a game trail, because not so much squatchy looking tracks, but does seem to be the Bambi Highway. There's a fair amount of deer that come through here at night and along the side. So and hold on, more pictures. It's like the nature of the landscape changes from the angle of the pond that you're at, which is nice. And my fellow network member, John Raffenberger, will recognize this. He was here with me last week. And the one thing I'm noticing is the definition of the tracks is a little less defined with the snow. Hopefully that won't hide anything from me. That would be a bummer. But lots of deer tracks this week. Lots of deer tracks. That's something bigger, but still, that might be a moose. I think we had some moose tracks here the last time we were here too. So not totally. The other thing from the skeptical side of things would be that you also have to bear in mind that with melt and refreeze you might get track distortion too. What I'm finding is a lot of it's just been covered up. But pardon my snarking. But if there's nothing, there's nothing. No shortage of Bambi though, and I'll show you what I'm looking at. You go back along there on a lot of deer tracks. So I'll keep the camera pointed down. That's interesting, sort of, but that right there. Not definitive, but just it's not a deer track. That might have been. The thing to bear in mind is John and I did stomp through here the other week, so it could easily be. It could just as easily be a snowed ever remnant of one of ours. So that's the other caveat in here too. I was just hoping to come in and maybe there'd be something brazenly obviously new, and I'm not seeing that right now. So. Sorry. That's, come back here. That's an interesting animal track of some sort for size comparison. Not really sure what that is. Not really sure what that is. It's not a deer though. I'm not going to even guess. Honestly, it could be any one of a number of things, but that is a moose. So if nothing else, through this little pass in here and the other one, you get a fair share of moose and deer coming through here, which is interesting. I never really know if they shared space peacefully or not. Apparently they do. But looking through here, most of this looks like deer and the like. I'll go as far as over by the beaver dam, but if we're being truthful here, I'm not really finding anything that's not deer and the like. So, which is one thing that kind of perplexes me about when it gets to be wintry, because you very rarely see deer out in a place like this in the daytime, but then you see the tracks. There's clearly no shortage of them. They must come around at night. So if I had trail cams on me, it might even be worth leaving some out here, because you would definitely get a boatload of deer and the like coming through. And God forbid you get that nice little walk by game cam picture of Bullwinkle. They're probably smarter than that. And God forbid if one of the Squatch fans, seems to be a popular notion in Bigfootery that they're on to the whole game cam thing, but doesn't always preclude. Yeah, I'm just not seeing anything. Maybe the mud is a better medium for them. That water looks very cold. But yeah, I guess we're not, and I'm not going to go any deeper in because I'm just not. Given the basic wintry temperature and given that I already know from last week, I apologize I did not make a video of John and I going through the undergrowth in there, but it was not the most fun you'll ever have. Not so much that the undergrowth is any denser than any other patch you've seen me swear about, as far as the grabber bushes and the things, but you get to a certain point and you hit the first ridge line, and it's very, you go over the hill over here, over there, and it is very hilly, over hill over dale kind of thing, where you're gonna be doing a lot of switchbacks, maybe even some minor mountaineering. And it's a good day to eat your Wheaties because you'll get a workout. That's where we left it. It was like, okay, we could get down there, but the fun is then you're going to have to get back up. And what we learned the hard way is going up a really steep hill or switchback and getting constantly thwacked in the face with the undergrowth is not the most fun you'll have either. But yeah, nothing really stands out like it's an actual track this time, because the other thing is, and I think I showed you this in yesterday's video, a lot of what you have around the side of the pond, this time of year you'll have like the mud intermixed with the water and the ice, and it kind of crystallizes. And that'll distort the crap out of tracks too, I think. So we came, we looked, nothing really telltale today, but this is a good area to look for tracks, because the last 2 weeks we found some definite maybes that, if going by past experience, are right about the right size for the two that I'm aware of in the area. And there could be a third little one now, or they could have been some other kind of track, but their shape was about right, but the size is like rather small. So but again, that's all conjecture until you actually see the three of them looking out over there on the pond. God forbid that should ever happen. But no dice today so far. The one lesson I took away from this orientating myself is that it is easy to distort distance from even like a drone flyover. You look at the drone video, and it looks like the first pond is like just over there, but doesn't really capture the nature of the steep drop-off, or 2 or 3, that you have to endure to get there. I thought I just had movement. That was my eyes playing tracks. But yeah, I think it's all quiet here today. So I think we're going to wrap up this segment once we get into the tree line here and start moving north again. And this is all mossy and weirdly soft, at least briefly. So Yeah, in order to navigate all the lovely grabber things, I'm gonna kind of take a break here and do that, and make our way south, make our way north. And one last look. I'll give you a pan of this. Rather, it's a scenic little pond, but there's just nothing going on here today. But all right, we're gonna resume shortly.